Hi, why does David say, love of God is better than life? In Psalm 63 he says, because your love is better than life, my lips will glorify you. Why is that? To understand that, we need to step back a little bit to verse 2. In verse 2 of Psalm 63, David says, I have seen you in the sanctuary, beheld your power and your glory. Because your love is better than life, my lips will glorify you. So, an important principle here is, he says, because I see you, I behold you. Why is that important? It is important because that which we behold, that which we see, that which we pay our attention to defines who we are. And that is what we see in the modern world. So much of how social media works is what we call attention economy, where it tries to captivate our attention in order to monetize our attention. And in so doing, it attempts to define us. There is a sociologist called Noam Chomsky who says a lot of what is happening in today is companies are fabricating us into products. Back in the day, companies would create products like toothpaste, cars to sell to us. So we become the customers, right? Whereas today, what is happening is companies are using social media to change how we think, and we become the products that the company then sells to other people, right? So spiritually, what this implies is this: that which we behold defines who we become. So what's the problem with that? The problem with that is what psychologists call social media depression. When we pay attention too much to social media, we watch all these celebrities and influencers do a whole bunch of different stuff and have success in social media, and that creates feelings of inadequacy in us. Some of us may say, hey, I don't care about celebrities, I don't care about influencers, but even those people may compare themselves not against celebrities, but against their own compatriots, so to speak, within their own circle of friends. Why does that person have a better life than me? Why does this person's son or daughter do better than my son or daughter? Why does this person have a better job than mine? So when people look at social media and pay attention to social media and consume social media too much, it creates this feeling of inadequacy in us, which ultimately creates this phenomenon called social media depression. So, what is the antidote to the feelings of inadequacy that comes in us when we compare ourselves to other people, when we overconsume social media and we behold or see all these things that life puts in front of us? The antidote to our feelings of inadequacy is the love of God. This is why David in Psalm 63 says, the love of God is better than life. Henry Nouwen is a professor who taught in Harvard and Yale in different places. And he said that oftentimes with people that were seen as being very successful to the world outside, were often driven by a sense of inadequacy or a sense of self-rejection. Eventually, Henry Nouwen left this life of academic glory, so to speak, to go and live among people that were disabled persons. A lot of them were mentally, psychologically challenged. But what he noticed is, when he was among them, that is where he felt God's love most powerfully, because that is where he felt the unconditional sense of love of God. In the world outside, in life, oftentimes love is given to us conditionally. If you are good, then you get love. If you don't do well, people don't like you, people don't love you. But God's love is unconditional. And that's why he says the more we experience God's unconditional love, that becomes the antidote to the feelings of inadequacy or self-rejection that may come from the world outside. So this is where what David says in Psalm 63 is important. You become what you behold. Pay attention to God, see God. And then in verse 3, he makes another important point. He says, because your love is better than life, my lips will glorify you, right? So you become what you behold. At the same time, you believe what you declare. When we declare God's glory, that is where the belief of God's glory becomes stronger in us. So the first thing to do is to keep our eyes on God instead of paying attention to the things of life social media and things of that sort. And second, when you keep your eyes on God, the places in which you feel God's love, declare those places where you feel the gratitude of God's love for you. And when you do that, that is where God's love becomes deeply internalized in you, which is why God's love is better than life. The life around us is always going to fill us with some form of inadequacy. You didn't do that well, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, or you're not beautiful enough, or you're not intelligent enough. But God's unconditional love takes away all of that sense of feelings of inadequacy and self-rejection. And the way to get there is to, one, focus on God's love, and two, declare what and how you feel God's love in that place. So here's a simple thing to do. Just take a moment to think about, what is it about life of Jesus that makes you feel loved? In the Gospels, we see the life of Jesus in so many different ways. We see Jesus as a teacher, we see Jesus as a miracle worker, we see Jesus as one who was tempted in the desert, we see Jesus as being anxious, we see Jesus as the crucified, as the resurrected. So when you think about all of these aspects of life of Jesus, what is it that makes you feel loved? Just pay attention to that. Behold that. See that in your mind's eye. And then declare what you see, the gratitude of what comes from there with your lips. Just as David talks about in Psalm 63. You become what you behold, you believe what you declare. And when you live into that, that is where God's love becomes better than life. So my hope and prayer for you is that as you go into this week, you will feel God's love is better than life by beholding God and by declaring how you feel His love in your life with your lips. So until I see you in another video, bye for now.